next is a good friend of mine. Her name is Anjali Joshi. And I'd like to bring her on because I want to know, though I already know, where is your heritage? Where do you live now? And how do you bring smiles to the world besides making me look really good? Take it away.
All right. Hi, folks. Well, I come from India, and more specifically, the Himalayan foothills of India. I am up in the highlands. Life is tough, but people are very sweet. Um, I actually wanted to tell you a little bit more about myself. Outside of where my heritage is, I'm also a healthcare marketer. I'm an author, researcher, as well as a mental health advocate. And I believe smiling is the biggest act of vulnerability. Now, there will be people who will say crying is the most vulnerable thing you can do. And I agree, it is. But smiling is how you let people in. And I'll give you an example. Now, I've recently moved to a new place after a very traumatic time. And as I moved here, I was still, when you're scared, your body also becomes a bit stiff and you feel like you don't want to let people in. And what I started doing was I moved here and I was really sad and I was grieving. And I decided that is exactly what the world was. The world was sad. I looked at my neighbors. I was like, oh my God, he's too loud. She's just so annoying. And then one day, 5 days into my moving here, the universe decided to teach me a lesson. Now, we don't have dryers here in India. We actually dry our clothes outside. And on a very windy day, some of my clothes flew into our neighbor's house. So I go up to them hesitatingly and I sheepishly smile at them and I say, hey, can I have my top back? And guess what they did? They smiled back. And all my assumptions were broken right there and then. And I was reminded by the universe why I'm here and why I exist and how stupid I was judging people. I should not do that. But I was scared. At the heart of all that judgment was fear. My neighbors and I got talking. We're good friends now. We share food, stories. And every morning now I go for a walk in this new neighborhood. I smile at kids. I smile at old people. I smile at cats, dogs, birds. And I've made so many friends in a very short period. Now, the work I do and the life I have lived has been fairly dark. My father died by suicide, and I had a fairly traumatic, abusive childhood. And up until now, there's been lots of things that keep coming up that I've had to deal with, including my work. Currently, I'm working to make sure that a healthcare solution for people with chronic illnesses reaches them. So my work can get dark and heavy quickly until and unless I smile through it. And I'm not saying the kind of smile that you just slap on just to be positive and just to not acknowledge the grief that exists, but a different kind of smile, you know, a smile that comes up when you see a kid laughing, or a smile that comes when you see a dog playing in the mud. Also, a smile that comes up when you hear that your friend got a promotion, or even sad smiles when you've just lost your father and you tell your mother, we'll be okay. Or in my case, when I was going through depression and grieving for my father and a cousin that I had lost, my boyfriend just held me and told me, we'll be okay. He's now my husband. So I think smiling is one of the most vulnerable things you can do. And there might be times when we feel that smiling makes us weak. But I always believe what Ken says, whoever smiles first wins. If you smile first, you are winning. Now, there's also the kind of smile, and I use a lot of it in my mental health advocacy work. And what happens there is that a lot of what happens with anxiety is also about us being scared and feeling misjudged or misunderstood. Sometimes a smile can just also say, hey, I see you. I was taught this lesson when, out of all the things, I wrote my master's thesis. Now, this is an academic thesis, and I chose to write it on suicide and mental health. And I did get a lot of academic remarks, it's very well researched, it's well written. Or maybe you could have used that specific source. That thinker is very good. But there's this one comment that I hold on to very dearly is that when a colleague of mine reached out and she said, Anjali, your thesis felt like a hug. She did not say it was academically well written. You used all the right jargon. No, she said it felt like a hug. And that was the day I realized that I can be an author too, that my words hold so much power, and that if I'm able to bring a little bit of joy into the world, my work here is done because the work has enough trauma. There's people going through a lot of stuff. People have loss, people have difficult times, the political situation, there's death, there is poverty, there's hunger, there's so much of it already there. And a little smile can really, really go a long way. Now, I don't have a book to promote. I don't have a product to share with you guys because I am the product. My message is the work that I do. And again, like Ken says, I want my life to be my message. And that is all I have for anybody who's listening to me right now is that don't be scared to smile. It's it takes effort, but please, please do it. There's also medical research, and I work with a lot of doctors that proves that the better your mood is, the more you're smiling, the happier you are. It's really, really good for your cells. And your cells make up your whole body. So when your cells are happy, they receive those messages. So this also means that if you smile, you can live longer, you can make better friends, and you can actually have a much, much better life. So that's what I'm doing. I don't try to find bigger moments. I don't wait for accomplishments. I Every day I wake up, I do a little bit of a gratitude practice. I do some affirmations, and then I just step out. I look at how much abundance is already present. I look at how the birds sort of change as the seasons pass. I look at what new leaf is growing. I look at how, now that I'm in this neighborhood, how my neighbors get ready and get start their day and they just wave, as they're passing by. When I start work, I am happy that I have work. When I eat, I am so grateful that I'm able to afford my meals. And that is such a joy that I'm able to enjoy and taste it. When I end my day, I'm grateful for a productive work day. I'm grateful for the colleagues I have. I'm grateful for the friends I have. And gratitude can be such an easy entryway into smiling. So that's the message that I want to leave you with. Really smile. You'll live more. I promise.
Most definitely. And yes, you do have a book. Remember, you're in Hold My Crown.
Yeah.
You are. So you do have a book. It's on Amazon. And I love your quote, and I wrote it twice, but two different ways. Life is tough, but people are sweet. The other one is smiling is the bravest act of vulnerability.
Yeah.
That is so true. And I'm so glad that you were able to break out of that mold that you had built around all these different people to realize that sometimes you just give someone a chance and they'll show you who they are, good or bad.
Yeah, absolutely.
So, how do they reach you? Because you are an amazing everything. You're an amazing everything. So, how do they reach you? What's your website?
Find me on LinkedIn, folks. Anjali Joshi. You'll find me even if you just type Anjali Joshi content because I'm also a writer. You'll be able to find me easily. I'm wearing a green sweater and there's lots of trees around me. There's more context.
Because she says smiles at dogs and cats and everything. And she
Oh my
really
God. They smile back.
Yes. So, Anjali, thank you so much for joining us on International
Thank you for
Smile
having
Day.
me.